Hi, guys. We are part of the mental wellness group here at UTSC, and we're going to be talking about a digital detox known as disconnecting to reconnecting. My name is Madhu. I'm going to be presenting along with Fatima and Jamie.
So, the statement of acknowledgement of traditional land. I wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit River. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land.
So before we dive into our presentation, I want to take a second to ask this question, and you guys can pause the video to think about this question before continuing on. Have you ever taken a social media break before?
Okay, so what exactly is a digital detox? Basically, for a certain period of time, a person reduces their technology use, for example, using their smartphones, computers, watching TV, etc., to reduce stress, focus on meaningful interactions, amongst other things voluntarily. This definition of digital detox can fluctuate based on an individual's goals and what they want to get out of it.
Now, you may be wondering why people take digital breaks in the first place. I think that when it's in the context of a student taking a break from social media, you might have heard about your friends taking breaks from social media or uninstalling their apps around exam time. They do this because social media is a source of distraction for many people, and these people think that it hinders their productivity. Doing so leads people to feel refreshed, rejuvenated, and gives them a chance to reflect on whether they truly need these apps or the devices that they're using. Addiction to devices, for example, if people are at a park, instead of taking in the scenery and the view, breathing in the fresh air, maybe the first thing they do is take out their phone and take a photo. And for many people, that they feel that that kind of ruins the moment, and so they feel that, well, it probably means I'm either addicted to my device, or it's something that isn't very productive to living. And so taking these breaks gives them a chance to reflect on that. Technology itself can also be stressful. During quarantine, we're surrounded by our devices all the time. We have our computers, we have our phones, and we're online every single day for several hours a day. And technology itself, just the presence of it, can really be stressful. Later on, in this presentation, we'll learn about the steps we can take a break from our social media and our devices and to busy ourselves in other ways that might be better for us. But of course, taking a break from your device or your apps can be hard. There are certain ways that kind of draw you into your devices and make it difficult to take a break from them. For example, on your phones, if you have a Snapchat, you might feel bad about leaving behind your streaks or your notifications that pop up all the time remind you about what other people are doing and what messages you got. So all of these things make it difficult to take a break, but really, having a certain mindset can make or break that digital detox moment. People who take digital breaks often learn to accept that if people needed to get touch with them, they would find another way to do so. So, for example, instead of getting messages on Instagram all the time, if it's very important, they might text you. That way, you don't have to go on your social media app all the time and get distracted and fall into a deep Instagram hole, for example. Now, something else I want you guys to reflect on is, do you keep your push notifications off? Push notifications are those things that come up on your screen that tell you someone posted something or someone replied to your comment. They're those notifications that come up at the top of your phone. So, do you keep your push notifications off or do you keep them on? Think about how that could potentially affect your digital detox.
Okay, so now we're going to be looking at a digital detox from both a biological and psychological standpoint. From a biological perspective, the consequences of using technological devices such as phones can lead to disrupted sleep, especially using technology after dark. It can continue to make one awake as blue light comes from screens can mess with your natural sleep wake cycle. Beyond this, it can cause mental overload, constantly feeling like you aren't free and guilty towards not being able to return every call or message. So, from a psychological point, we can look at how, in today's society, due to the growing pressures of social media and wanting to be in the loop at all times, many individuals face FOMO. So, what is FOMO? FOMO is known as the fear of missing out, which is basically the tendency to experience anxiety over missing out on the rewarding experiences of others. This is especially enhanced through the many forms of social media platforms that we use today. To name a few, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Snapchat are among the top using platforms that can cause FOMO. With high levels of engagement and FOMO, this can cause an increase in typical anxiety symptoms and cause individuals to become more distracted due to diligence towards notifications. So, from this, we can see that a digital detox can affect you both biologically and psychologically, which is why, positively, which is why you may want to do a digital detox.
Hey guys, it's me again, reminding you to reflect. Take a moment to think about why do you think it can be hard for someone to take a break from technology, whether it be their apps or their devices? And try to think about why it could be hard for you to take a break from your technology. Second question I want you to think about is what could you do to reduce your technology usage? Are there any specific examples or specific things you think you could do? And how might these changes affect your day? Now that you've reflected a bit on those questions, let's talk about the steps you can take towards a digital detox. The first thing you need to do is identify why you want to do a digital detox. Is it because you want to spend that time studying? Is it because you want to spend more time with your family? Think about why you want to do it. The second thing is to choose a time frame that you want to do your digital detox for. Do you want to take a break for a day, 2 days, a week? Be realistic about what you can do. The third thing is to establish boundaries. Are you just taking a break from Instagram, TikTok, or just Twitter? Or are you taking a break from all your socials? Be realistic about what works for you. You could detox from a specific site. Maybe you want to stop going on Reddit so you can detox from that specific site or app, or you might want to detox from all apps in a category, for example, all social media apps. The fourth thing you need to do is schedule quality time. Well, now that you're not on your phone during that time, you want to substitute that time with something else. So maybe you spend every evening playing a board game with your family, or you clean your closet, or maybe you read a book, or you go outside. Do something else in that time so that you can make use of that, make use of your time wisely. You can also journal to keep track of your progress and any ideas that come up during your detox. Maybe you realize that you don't really need your Instagram, or maybe you realize that you can make do without going to a specific website every single day. You can also tell your friends and family about when you're about to start your detox and ask them for their support. So maybe they know that you're on your detox, so they won't be sending you a bunch of messages on your social media apps, and instead, they might only send you important things through email. Something else you can also do is to delete apps or put passwords to make them harder to access and reduce temptation. So maybe simply not using the app is difficult for you, and you might want to actually remove that app from your device altogether. Or maybe you want to limit your time, so you can put a password on an app, or you can make it so that that app is only usable during certain hours or times in the day. The fifth thing you need to do in towards a successful detox is to think about number one, what have you learned from this experience? Number two, having lived without your website or your app for this long, is there any specific device or platform you think you can do without permanently? The third thing to think about is, would you consider setting a regular time, for example, Saturday afternoons or Sunday evenings every week, to repeat the experience?
Given the current period we're living in, it's obviously difficult to completely stray away from technology. However, when using technological devices, it's important to be mindful of your internet consumption. The first tip is to give it a time and place. For example, if you tend to constantly refresh multiple social media platforms and um, the attended small time you spend online ends up turning into hours, well, then you should instead try having a limited designated time during the day where you can scroll as much as you want. Maybe it's while you have your morning coffee or during your commute, or perhaps you spend your weekend social media free. The key thing is to find a balance that works for you. The second tip is to give it a purpose. Sometimes you just need to unplug from the wrong type of content. Repositioning yourself and your social media use in a positive direction can ultimately help you take back the negative hold it has on your time and mindset. This could either mean gathering inspiration for creative projects, finding new food recipes to use, or simply just learning something entirely new and picking up a new hobby. The next tip is to not do it alone. Accountability is powerful, and so having a group of supportive friends or family to do a digital detox with will really help you stay motivated and make the process a lot more enjoyable. Lastly, track your usage and set limits. The first step of decreasing the time you spend online is finding out how much time you spend online. Depending on the phone brand, you'll be able to check your screen time and see reports on your internet usage and set your own limits. However, another great tip, as mentioned before, is using various social media apps to keep you more aware of your screen time use. This brings us to our next slide, digital detox apps. Although there are many distracting apps out there, there are also a lot of apps that help you curb your addiction to smartphones and boost your work productivity. I've done a bit of research in a few apps, and I found a few apps that I thought were great for helping everyone out to break the habit of overusing your phones. So the first app is called Flipped, and this app ultimately it helps you limit screen time by locking your phone for a set amount of time, and also hides any distracting apps and games that you want to hide. The second app is called Forest. This is a pretty popular digital detox app. It is used by a lot of my friends. This Forest app provides an interesting solution to beat your phone addiction, and the way it works is pretty simple. You first set a timer on the app and plant a seed, and in the following time, your seed will grow into a tree. However, if you unlock your phone or leave the app before the timer is up, your tree will die. So, with this interesting mechanism, the sense of achievement and responsibility will help the drivers or help drive the users to stay away from their phone in a fun, interesting manner. The last app I'll be talking about today is called Moment, and this is an app that help you track and manage how much time you spend on your phone each day. If you're using your phone too much, you can set daily limits for yourself and be notified when you go over that limit. You can even force yourself off your device when you're over the limit. That's an also interesting aspect of this app.
Now, right before we end off this video, I think it's important to think about having learned everything you did today. Would you consider doing a social media detox or a phone detox?
Thank you for listening to our presentation. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask that. Health and Wellness Center, and uh, make sure to stay connected with us through our social medias and all these things. Um, so once again, thank you for coming to this episode of the Wellness Talk at Home Digital Detox.